Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome. Today I've got Touchtoys Carefray J35C from the No Sky Above or No Heaven Above 2035 manga series. Otherwise, an original character just from that series. You can see the J20 stealth guy up in the corner who was released under Sci Figure Industries along with that black helicopter. Yeah, those two are from this series as well. Just different company name. Anyway, we got some really cool artwork on the front. Uh, and then there's his jet mode on the side. Pretty plain product shots on the back, showing the things you can do. And then there's his bot mode. And then that's it. And here he is. Got him on his stand already. Now, I know this figure has been out for a little bit, but still wanted to do it myself. So, Chinese J35C, their answer to the American, what was it? I think it was the F-35. Overall, a very cool representation. Very detailed. Would never know that it transforms if it wasn't for all the panel breakup. Let me get you off of the stand here. Show you off properly. There we go. I currently have all the missiles attached, landing gear out. So smooth, fully painted. And it's got some blacklight stuff going on with it too. We'll see that in just a minute before I carry on. Here is the stand, also fully painted, very nice. Got the weapon storage when you just flip it around. You can tab in all the missiles all along here. Got a very cool nameplate. It looks like it's plastic, but it looks like it's made out of metal and painted. It's at least painted. But so got that. Of course, the stand can be used in plane or robot mode. And then, of course, if you don't want either, you just fold it up. And there you go. So, I'll go ahead and get this out of the way for now. There's nothing much to that. Of course, the missiles do detach, and the landing gear, you can get them out, get them in. Can open up the little bay doors here where his crossbow is at, but at least in jet mode, it looks like it's just a bay of missiles, which I think is really neat. And then, true to the real aircraft, the wings fold up. Makes it a little bit easier to store it on the shelf if you want it in alt mode. There we go. Did I just fold the wheel in? I just folded the wheel in. There we go. But yeah, so there you go. There's not too much going on here. His cockpit also opens. Shows a pretty decently detailed interior. Right, for what it is, especially knowing that's going to become the back of the robot head. It's not bad at all. Very nice finish on the cockpit. That like oily look with the probably radar or heating grid in it, whatever it is. Overall, the paint's done very nicely on this guy. I've had this guy for a little bit, couple of weeks, and transformed him a lot, and I have not had any paint chipping yet, or scratches that I know of. Some very nice paint back here on the thrusters. Of course, the rope catcher. I don't know the actual name of it, but that does come down. Catch the rope as it's landing on an aircraft carrier. But yeah, so there you go. There's not much to the jet mode. Most of his gimmicks and whatnot are in robot mode. So, do a couple of, well, actually, no. Blacklight. With blacklight, he's got some hidden insignias. And they're Pretty much the same thing, just in different places. Let me zoom in a bit here. We'll try and... There you go. It's just a Chinese symbol of some kind in like a badge, like a star and wings behind it. But it's still pretty cool. You can barely tell it's there. Disappears, then with the light you can kind of see it, and then black light you can really see it. I just think that's really cool, especially knowing he is a stealth fighter, so it kind of makes sense. And then a couple of size comparisons. First up, Deformation Space Thundercracker. So we can see he is a hair shorter, about as wide. Overall, though, they fit together very nicely. This is MPU thrust, so we can see the MP52 mold. And again, they're actually about the same length. I'm sure he's going to be a little wider because of his wing design, but there you go. And then lastly, Metagate Black Lightning, the Last Night Drift, just so we can see the size of a car next to him, since he's a pretty average carbot size. And I mean, yeah, clearly out of real life proportions, but no, they look good together. And so that is really about it for the vehicle mode. Of course, these missiles do detach and they just plug right in, and the larger ones have the magnets in them for turning on the helmet effects in robot mode. So I'll go ahead and take all of these off. Get these off to the side for now. And with that, this guy's transformation is a little involved, but it's not difficult. The first couple times, I definitely needed the book. But it's not difficult. It's just remembering where everything goes, because he has a lot. So with that, let's go ahead and get down to transformation. All right, so first thing, I've already got the landing gear out. You don't have to, but it'll just save me a couple steps later. So I'll go ahead and angle the tail fins down, get those kind of out of the way. Let's see where to begin. Well, let's go ahead and take the weapon out. Get this out of the way. We won't be needing that until robot mode. Don't need to fully close those. I'll just give them some space. And let's go ahead and separate the main wings. So for the most part, you can just pull them apart. There's a couple of different tabs and slots that you need to watch for. So once you get it enough apart, like about to there, you can come under and you can see what you're missing. There's going to be a tab and slot right here that's going sideways as well. There we go. I'm just pulling out and up, but come on, there it is. See, this tab was really nice and tight. And then it also hooks on the top of the fuselage there. So just a couple different connection points to look for. Once that's done, I'll go ahead and untab these and split them. Roll them out a little bit. Try and get some clearance here. There we go. All right. And let's go ahead and work on the front here. So the air intakes, I'm going to again, wait a minute. Forgetting one thing. I've done that before and it's worked, but I do want to separate the front landing gear first. So there we go. I'll separate these front pieces. You've got a nice little divot in there. You should be able to get your fingernail or a spudger in. And then I want to separate this whole front piece, and it's this connector and these two dovetails. If you pull up on the landing gear, hopefully you'll get lucky and it'll at least mostly separate. You just might need to play with that one. Get landing gear up, and as you can see, it takes this piece of the fuselage with it, and because I disconnected the back, now he's floppy. So now I'm going to split these air intakes, and I just pull them straight out. They're on little sliders. Alright, see, so now I've got that gap. By pulling those straight out, I disconnected the arms from where they sit up in there, which is fine. And now these panels, I want to disconnect from the arms, but they are a good solid connection on mine. I generally need a spudger to get in there. Point is, you want to pull these two panels up, but keep the arms in place at the moment. You want to separate them. And it's just a really good connection. There it is. See, it's this tab and slot in the arm, and then this tab and slot, but this is the one that's really strong. And you just separate these two, and this blue panel can go all the way in. Do the same on the other side. And once you get the wings exploded out and you take care of this front landing gear, you could either continue to work on the upper body like I am, or you could go ahead and start working on the lower body, and you can do the legs before you get up here and do this part. So you got some options. Here we go. Now I'm going to bring the arms out all the way until it clicks in and it's nice and flush at that joint. Bring the arms out, and I'll bring these panels back down, and I can make sure these blue pieces are sitting all the way in where they should be. All right. So there's that. Now we'll come back to the upper body in a second. So there's a couple different things here. One thing, so only this center section needs to do 180, but I want the bottom and top halves to basically stay where they're at. So you can either try and hold both and rotate it, or you can just rotate them one at a time, but either way. There we go. That's what I want. All right, so you've got all of this stuff on the back. This is going to be the front, and then that's going to be the front. All right, and now I'll go ahead and get to work on the legs. I'm going to go ahead and split them. Going to bring these pieces around. There we go. I'm going to fold in these little die cast pieces in preparation for what I'm about to do. I'll go ahead and bring these joints out. And you can see these square tabs here. They're going to go into the landing gear. Speaking of which, now it's about a good time to get the landing gear in. So you got to get this on the other side. You've got this double joint. Fold it, rotate it in, and then it'll slide right in. And then you just extend it back out for a moment. Go ahead and close up those doors if you didn't already by accident. And then this tab with the dot is going to go into this armature. And then on the big chrome die cast piece, bring it toward the back, and you're going to bring the landing gear forward, because these square tabs on the legs are going to go into these square slots on both sides of the landing gear door. There's one. This one is almost there. Okay, I think I got that. Make sure the landing gear is all the way up. And then you've got this post. Oops. There we go. This port for the silver, the chrome piece, and the port in the wheel for this gray painted piece. So you just rotate them in, get them about lined up and give them a little push, and it should not take a lot of force. All right, but it's going to sit just like that. Do that for both of them. There we go. And that is how that should be looking. I'll go ahead and bring the legs down just a little bit. Just don't need them extended like that. Bring this out. All right, and for the legs, lift up on that panel there. Bring this panel out. I'm going to lift up on this half of the fuselage. I'm going to rotate it and pull it out. The joint that it's on here slides in and out. So you want to do both. You want to slide it out and you want to rotate it back. Then I'm going to lift up on these two silver pieces on the sides of the feet, and I'm going to pull out the landing gear because it's got the piece that's baby blue has two posts that go into these two ports, and you want to separate those. Now from here, I'm going to lift it up just a little. One click is enough, and then you want to bring it out, rotate it around 180, and then you can start to bring it in. And now I'm going to rotate this. I'm going to lift up on this panel for the foot, rotate that, and I'm going to rotate this whole bit around. Okay. And now what I'm going to do, this tab that's got the little like piston design on it is going to go into this slot in the top of the foot. And then this piece with the opening is going to get tabbed into this piece, this little chrome piece. So all I got to do is rotate things around so I can get, there we go. I got that big tab in the foot, and then I got the chrome piece going into that. All right, you see that? Boom, boom. Cool. There we go. Rotate that. Now we got to rotate the leg a little bit. And before doing that, let's see here. Bring this around and bring this panel down to lock it in. I'm going to fold this piece of the fuselage over. Just basically close it up. I'm going to rotate this around so that we have this opening, and I'm going to rotate this fuselage. And then open it up again and push it in. All right. Now I'm going to rotate all of this as I need to. Bring this flap upwards. Continue to rotate this fuselage inward, because now is what we're going to do. You've got a port right here for this blue post. Go ahead and get that plugged in. And then you rotate the wheel, and it's going to plug into this part of the kneecap. And then you've got this metal piece of the kneecap that's inside of it, and that is going to tab into this connection point that's on the knee. All right. And then you just close this up if you didn't already by mistake. It's got a little tab and slot there. It's not super secure, but it gets the job done. And that's one leg complete. And second leg is exactly the same. So I'm going to go a little bit quicker for the purpose of time. Rest assured, I will do a transformation video on this going in both directions, so there and there. Untab the landing gear again, up a click, out, rotate, rotate that, panel up, rotate all of this. Good. Flip that up, rotate this inward, bring the landing gear out of the way. Tab that in, foot back around. Other things are trying to be in the way, so I'll rotate the fuselage on this side. There we go. Secure that. Bring this around. Slide that in. Oh, and I did forget to mention, there is a post on the inside of this fuselage piece that gets slotted into this hole on the afterburner, and that is the same on both sides. There we go. Secure all that. Got that. Get this piece up. Rotate around. Slot that. Rotate this around. And get it in there. Okay. And that is both legs complete. The bomb bay doors, I'll just angle them down for now, try and get them out of my way. We'll go ahead and bring these side skirt pieces down. Now we're going to work on the upper body, which isn't that difficult, but it is going to look very floppy at the moment. So, forewarning there. So I'm going to rotate these pieces so that the point is facing up. I'm going to separate the nose, open up. I'm not opening the cockpit, right? That's the cockpit. I want to open up this part of the fuselage. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up on that control piece, which will go on the back of the head, and then rotate it all around, close up the cockpit. And close up that part of the fuselage as well. There we go. And then I'm going to start to angle all this stuff down, and as I do so, I've got a bunch of different things to look for. So I want the nose cone to go all the way in, fold all the way in. I want to have these angled pieces, like I said, I want to have them facing roughly forward. I want the air intakes to be looking like that at the moment. You have this double joint back here. That's going to go down, and then the armature right in there is going to basically slide into these two tabs. It's not going to be super secure, especially right now since everything else is floppy. But it will at least tell you that everything is where it needs to be. Alright, so there you go. So now I can make sure that these side pieces are set up right. Looking pretty good. Alright, I'm gonna come back here. The head, so there's all kinds of double joints going on back here. I'm going to keep rotating these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate these around, and they have right up in here. yeah, this piece, that is kind of a tab that's going to go into a slot on the side of the cockpit. So you just make sure you pull them out, you give them a rotate, and then you can tab them in. And then give them a little bit of a squeeze. And you see right here how it goes in. That's how it should be on both sides. If you don't have that, then that's one thing out of a few that's gonna really mess you up for connecting the wings back here if you don't have that set up right. All right. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and pull these two pieces out all the way until they click. All right. The head is going to come back, and you can see it's got two slots that'll go into here. And if you don't have the double joints and everything set up right, it will let you know, because it won't even let you tab it in. Which apparently I do not, because it's doing that to me now. There we go. Okay. So that's all looking pretty good so far. We're going to find out real quick if it's lined up right or not. So these little wingtip pieces, can bring them in. I'm going to go ahead and split the wings and get these folded up, rotate this all the way around. Split, rotate, fold. You can see it just folds in on itself. Now for these little wingtip pieces, there's a tab right about in here that's on this panel, and then there's that slot in it, and you want to get that tabbed in. And if you don't have all the double joints and everything else set up, it is not going to let you do it. The very first time transforming him, I thought something was wrong because I could not get him tabbed in. I just didn't have it in the right spot. So there's that. Then you're going to open up these wings, and they've got this square hole. They're going to go into those pieces that we unfolded. There we go. Probably should have done that first because it untabbed my little wingtip piece. But there, get him to stand. He does stand just fine on his own. It just got to make sure everything's set up right now, because right now it is not. All right, last thing, his arms. Rotate around. And just bring these over. Rotate this. Go ahead and open up the forearm panel. Bring this back. And then close up the forearm panel, which tabs into that red piece. All right, same thing over here. I'm going to rotate it like that. I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to rotate this up and put it over. I'm going to rotate this. Open up the forearm panel. Slide this back. There we go. And then close up the forearm panel. And that is it for Touchtoys Carefray's transformation. Now, the best way I've found that he'll stand perfectly fine on his own is basically lean his legs forward a little bit, and then you can have his body straight up. And there you go. And we can go ahead and get his weapon transformed so that it can actually be a weapon for him. So lift up on this silver piece, bring it all the way down. It looks like it tabs in, but it doesn't. It doesn't reach. Then separate all of this, and you can slide it down on this slider at the same time. Oh, let's lift up on these. There we go. But yeah, get all that out. You can angle these so they're facing more forward. Bring these all the way back. Rotate this, and it's got these two tabs that go into those two slots. So do that, and then you've also got a post right there and right there. So you got a couple different things. And again, up here, it doesn't quite reach, but this one and these two tabs are secure, so it works. You can fold this back, get it into there. As you can see, I've been transforming mine a lot lately, and it is starting to get a tiny bit floppy. And then I'll give these an angle just because I think it looks good like that. And that is his crossbow. His rocket launcher crossbow. And one thing I will say about this guy is he does not have a tab and slot connection, even though he's got a slot in his hands. No tab on here. So you just feed his hand in. And once you get it past that first knuckle, the first knuckle that actually has a joint, you should hang on to it just fine. Alright, well that is as close as he's getting right now. Wants to fight me. So I know the pictures show doing it that way, but I think, if I remember right, doing it this way ends up a little bit more secure. Yeah, it does. Now I can actually fold his hands in all the way. I don't know why it works that way and not the other. So at least now the design is on the outside. But yeah, so there we go. And you can also store his missiles on his wings. All of the tabs are still there. I just will not do that right now. But there he is, Touchtoys J35C Carefray. And like I said, transformation's not that bad. It takes some getting used to. So first few times, I definitely needed the book. But as you can see now, it's not that bad. I've gotten pretty decent with it. I don't have any issues with clearance, really. The only thing is where you have to pull these out and then tab them in for robot mode or to undo it for jet mode. I wish they would pull out just a little bit more because I feel like I'm flexing things to get them tabbed in. And of course that is the kind of thing that worries me for longevity's sake. But let's get a good look at my boy. It's a very cool head sculpt. Different from pretty much anything we've normally seen. These are mechs that are piloted by people in the manga that it's a part of. And then, of course, he does have the light up function where it's solid blue and then it's a breathing blue. And then solid red. And then back to off. So that's very cool. You do have to completely take apart the head to be able to get to the LED board in there where the battery is mounted, but tiny little screwdriver and it did the trick. You can see you got some gold, some more, everything is fully painted. So, or again, if it's not painted, then it is just really well done. But you can see a bunch of jet details still, and then now we've got his arms, which is, we weren't seeing that before. So there we go. Like I said, most of this we've already seen. The feet, The chrome is all die cast all throughout, and then other than that, it's mostly plastic. And even the die cast, the chrome, it could be just like a pot metal because it's still very light. It just doesn't feel like it's going to break. Articulation wise, the head is on a ball joint, but it is very limited. So you can go down to there, up pretty much straight forward. That's it. You can do a full 360, but you do have to kind of play with the angles a bit. And then, you know, little head side to side. The shoulders, so you've got these rockets that attach to the back of the shoulders, so you can do a 360. You just got to make sure those are out of the way. But that's a good ratchet. All right, I'll put that back down. Again, you'll ratchet all the way up, and you can move that if you still want the rocket facing forward, and then if you want to go further up for some reason, he will, but you got to move that rocket. All right, and then bicep rotate, double jointed elbow. So lower joint only is above 90, with the upper joint folds in on itself. You've got a wrist rotate, individual fingers with 2 pins each, and the thumb has a ball joint as well as a pin at the bottom. And then this upper one, it looks like it can fold in. It can. So the thumb has a ball joint and 2 pins. The knuckle pin is just tight, difficult to move, and no in and out on that wrist. You do have a waist rotate, just not a lot because collision. But I mean, I think that's a pretty decent, like a realistic amount of waist rotate. You know, I don't need him to go 360. I don't have any Exorcist Transformers here. Hip skirts, you can move those out of the way. You can angle them. They're on ball joints and those rotational pieces. So I'll go ahead and get them up for the moment. We can go forward all the way out. Backwards, so you can go a pretty good bit back before you start getting collision. But then if you, let's have this angled like that. That's as far back as you can go before it hits, but then you can bring it out on one click and you can kind of get up a little higher. But still, backwards it doesn't have a lot. And then you can go straight out. You do have a thigh rotate up here. Single jointed knee, but you get more than 90 out of it. And then it's got the cool cover down function, which I really like. It's unnecessary, but I do really like it. It's just a neat feature to have. Again, I wouldn't be missing it if it wasn't there, but it is really cool. Then you've got a toe tilt. You have down and a little bit of up. And yep, that is it. No rotate. And you can manipulate these side pieces, and then you can rotate this piece. So if you have them standing on uneven ground, you can make sure those little winglets are flat. So there you go. Bit of an odd pose he's got there, but he's holding it. And then I showed you the weapon already and how that tabs in. And then if you untab, let's see, get the weapon all folded up, or in this case unfolded, and you can store it on them. So you pretty much want it the way that it was for jet mode. So get that all folded up. You can rotate these and put this back and bring this out. And so what we're going to do, I got to get this panel open, which is easier said than done because it sits super flush, like a lot of the stuff in jet mode, which I appreciate, but it also does make it a little bit difficult to get to when I want to. Try and push it out with a spudger. There we go, got it. Get that panel out of the way. Let's see, thinking about it, I'm pretty sure I actually do need this to stay folded up for this. Yep, that's right. So I'm going to lift up on the head, got to untab it. I'm going to take the rope catching piece and just rest it up in there. And then put the head back down so it locks that in place. And then back here, this panel comes up and goes right in there to tab it in. So there you go. You've got that locked in by the head. All right. And then you've got this locked in at the back, and there you go. I'll go ahead and get this folded back up. So there is weapon storage. There is his bot mode and articulation in general. And let's go ahead and do a couple of quick size comparisons. And before we go any further, there is one other thing that I forgot to mention, and is the whole putting him on the stand. You've got this for the flight mode and this for bot mode. This little bit will hook into this area. And it should just line right up, sits right in place. And there you go. And then, of course, you can angle that back. You can still use the side to side if you wish. And, of course, now he's suspended in midair, so you can have him doing whatever pose you want. So, as easy as that. All right. So, there you go. So, here is Medigate Drift, the G07 Black Lightning version again. So, even with his swords, taller. Then here is MP52 Thrust, the MPU Ultra. So he is taller than a current jet bot. Then, of course, Thundercracker again, Deformation Space. So they're right about the same. You know, his shoulder pieces and the back of his tail fins, they're about the same. And then finally, because in his jet mode, he looks like he could be a revisioned Starscream from the live action movies. So I thought, you know what, it'd be cool, get him up next to Megatron. So here's my Alien Attack Dark of the Moon Macron. And yeah, definitely much smaller, but I mean, he doesn't look bad next to Macron. He doesn't look bad. Definitely different design. I mean, it's not, you know, meant to go with him, but hey, you know, he doesn't look bad. So that's it for comparisons, and we've gone over just about everything for this guy, but there is one other thing I'd like to mention. So the wings fold up for jet mode. Just the main wings mimics the real life aircraft, right? But you can still fold them up in bot mode. So you can fold the large wings back. These ones you can fold forward. And what that does, it just gives him a little bit more of a compact look. It's great if you are limited on space for wherever you display your Transformers. Makes them a little bit thinner. And you can still have the missiles on them. And it's just a little bit of a different look. Most of the photos in the book, it says have it the standard way. But then even like Ming Motion's videos or pictures, they have a couple where it shows these at different angles. And I'm just bringing them to extreme here, but that's as compact as they can get. So, just options, you know. I always like my options. Never know what mood I might be in, and I might want to make use of said options. Get him to stand. There we go. I'm actually probably going to store him like that just because I am low on space. But anywho, there is Touchtoys Carefray. And overall, the vehicle mode is amazing. It could pass for a model if it wasn't for all the panel breakup. It looks so clean, and I really cannot wait to see Touchtoys' other two jets, Volan Shark and Trunk Spotter. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but another fighter jet and a big old like aircraft, cargo aircraft. Looking forward to those two, because their jet modes are just as clean as this guy. Bot mode also, he looks pretty good. I like him. I mean, again, like, yeah, the knees, they're unnecessary, especially as big as they are. But, you know, still, it doesn't look bad. He's got pretty good articulation, especially considering all the kibble and everything he does have. But then again, speaking of kibble, I mean, honestly, I don't know if I'd call this kibble because, like, it's your wings. This is the only thing I could see. Like, yeah, they could have cleaned it up a little bit more, but even Hellbird has that, and he's got it in the front. So, all in all, I think he looks pretty good, no matter which mode you're looking at. Transformation is the only thing. It is complicated. It is not for the faint of heart, and it is not for a beginner. But if you like a lot of Bayverse, especially third-party Bayverse designs, are kind of on the complicated side. I mean, Unique Toys, they're complicated. Granted, they're in a way that it's relatively fluid. You know, you can, it only takes a time or two to practice, and then you've got it down pat. This guy was a little bit more complicated than that, but point is, they're not going to be easy like a G1 bot. It's just not the design. It's not the style. So I like his transformation. It's complicated, yes, but at the same time, it does make sense once you learn it and you see where everything goes, and it gets much easier as you go. So overall, I would recommend him, as long as you're okay with that transformation. But this guy, I think he looks real good no matter what way you look at him. And that's really all I got to say about him. So I will have a transformation video for this up, if it's not up already by the time you see it, going in both directions. And other than that, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, see ya.